What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and this video, I want to talk about why I am getting The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. This is a series of videos that I do where I talk about an upcoming game, and I talk about whether I'm getting it, not getting it, or I'm somewhere in between. The first one of 2024, the first one I'm recording as well for next year, and I believe technically the Prince of Persia game comes first. Again, this is just how I'm recording it. This is the second game that I saw, on the Wikipedias, on the Game Informer list that, okay, this is a game that you got to circle or not circle. So here's the thing. I know what I'm doing here. I know that this is going to get, all sorts, back and forth. Go ahead. I'm not going to read the comments. Well, maybe I'll read them for fun. Go ahead. Write what you're going to write, in the comments. I have some things to say for sure about Last of Us Part 2, but, you let out your steam in the comments before you even hear what I have to say. Okay. This is a game that I'm getting. I'll tell you why I'm getting it. It's really quite simple. It's for the roguelike mode. And I guess it's also for the lost levels or, the cut levels. I'm interested in them. I want to see, what they're all about. But it's the roguelike mode. I'm a big roguelike fan. We just experienced an amazing roguelike mode in God of War Valhalla. I'm going to say this, but it's not a negative. Shoehorning it in, right? Like, it's not built to be that, but you made it that through the DLC. And not even necessarily surprisingly, because I think God of War works well as a roguelike, they did it. Now, I'll say this for Last of Us Part 2. Like I just said, those are my reasons for getting the game. Now, I already own it, so it's the $10 upgrade. Now, when this was announced, I had no problems with the $10. In fact, judging based off Sony's past behavior, I think this is a win. And I'm willing to say it again. I know I'm going to get called names in the comments. Again, that's why I'll read it kind of while laughing at people. But I understand. I get it that it's $10 and, maybe it should have been free, whatever. I will say that's actually strengthened by Valhalla. But at the same time, this is more than what Valhalla is. I understand Valhalla is literally DLC and it gives you the story, which is actually a really good story, plus the roguelike thing. And you could say, well, Alex, okay, well, this gives you like the horde mode, like it gives you this wave-based thing for the roguelike thing. Well, why are they charging you for it? Well, it has been years. It's been almost 3 years since The Last was Part 2. It is a remaster. Like, on top of everything else, or bigger than everything else, it is a remaster of the base game. So I do think it is justified to do the $10 thing. And again, controversially, I do see this as a win. We are not that far along from Sony trying to, not scam, but remember when they talked about like the upgrade path and the whole Horizon fiasco happened where they say it and then they didn't do it, they got called on it, and then they reverted back to, okay, we're going to listen to you. That's not trying to be like a console warrior thing. It's simply we've lived in like dark times, with the situation, and it could have been worse. Like, you could have been charged $60, $70 for this. We just got Last of Us Part 1 remake, which I didn't think was really necessary to do in the first place, and that was a full price game. So again, like, we're not going to go into that rabbit hole, but the idea is I think $10 is worth it for what they're giving. Now, again, for this video, the title, why we're here, what we're talking about, why am I getting the game? It's not for the base game. I literally said in the beginning, for the roguelike mode and for the cut levels. Maybe even for, like, free guitar playing. Like, I have guitars. I play guitar. I've played it for a long time. I'm not very good, but I have played for 15 or so years. I think that's cool. Like, let me just jam and come up with the different chord combinations. Let's just make a song, right? I think that's clever. Like, there are some added features, but I'm not getting this game for the game itself. I eventually am going to play Part 2 again. As I constantly say with this game, there are things I really like about this game, love even. There's also things I don't like, and the story decisions were things that I didn't like. And the things I do like, specifically, is how it feels, the combat, the realness of it almost. That's why I'm actually very excited for the roguelike, because much like God of War, and I think obviously very different games. I'm not trying to say they're the same games. What a roguelike mode or a roguelike game does is highly emphasize gameplay. If your gameplay is weak, a roguelike mode or roguelike game will not work, period. So again, what not really surprisingly happened with God of War is God of War's gameplay is really good. People already knew that from the base game of 2018 and Ragnarok. When you introduce a roguelike mode to it, it works even, it really is almost like, oh, it's meant to be a roguelike thing now, right? Last of Us, again, different, like very different how it's controlled. I think the controls and how like it actually plays is extremely good, extremely good. So when you add in now a mode that is really going to rely on the gameplay being good, I think it's got it. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited to play the game, not necessarily to experience, because I'm not going to replay, at least not yet. I kind of want to wait for like the 5-year anniversary, so 2 more years, play it start to finish, give it a chance, see what I think about it 5 years later. That's my plan. Stay tuned for 2 more years of podcast now, and you'll see my thoughts there. But that's why I'm getting it. Simple, maybe not straight to the point. I can never get straight to the point on anything, but in a nutshell, that's why I'm doing it. So you let me know what you think. Again, I may or may not read it. I don't know how I feel yet, but let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure as always you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.